Hi everyone, we're going to write the equation of a conic in standard form by completing the square, and we're going to graph it. So this is our question, and when I look at this I don't like that this is leading here. So what I did is I took this whole equation and negated everything. That means I just changed all the signs, and I don't know if this is going to be good, but we might have to rearrange it. We also know that if you look at your squares here, that one is positive and one is negative. So that means this is going to be a hyperbola. So we have to get the pertinent information for that. So anyway, here it is, and we're going to complete the square. First thing I'm going to do is group my x's together, and then group my y's together. And I'm going to move my constant over to the right side. So it's going to be negative. Now, completing the square, the first thing I'm going to do is factor out a 25. So I'm going to get an x squared plus 6x. And to complete the square, half of 6 is 3 and squared, and you get 9. Now, for this part, I'm going to put a minus. I'm going to factor out a negative 16. So it's going to be y squared minus 6y. When you're factoring out a negative, this is going to change that sign. So it'll be 6y, and then again, you take half of negative 6, you get negative 3. When you square it, it's positive. All right, then we write our negative 481, but we added this 9, which is really 25 times 9. So it's 25 times 9. And we have a 9 here we added, but we have a negative 16 times 9. So it's minus 16 times 9. When you add all this up, you get negative 400. All right, now we're going to go ahead and condense our perfect square trinomials. So we have 25 times x, and let's go ahead and condense this. This could be plus 3 squared minus 16. This would be y minus half of 6 is 3, so it's 3 squared equals negative 400. All right, and now we need a 1 here because we know it's a hyperbola, so we're going to divide everything by negative 400. We got 3 places where we need to do that. And when you do that, you're going to get negative x plus 3 squared over 16 plus y minus 3 squared over 25 equals 1. So this is not the standard form, so I'm going to just switch these two. So basically we have y minus 3 squared over 25 minus x plus 3 squared over 16 equals 1. So since our y leads, that means the hyperbola is going to be opening up and down. So let me write it again. We have y minus 3 squared over 25 minus x plus 3 squared over 16 equals 1. Now let's get our pertinent information we need. To get the foci, we need to know that c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So what I do, your a squared is your lead on this hyperbolus. So a squared is 25, b squared is 16, therefore c squared is going to be 41. And then we get the a's and b's and c's. We get a, if you take the square root of a, you get plus and minus 5. B equals plus and minus 4. And c equals plus and minus square root of 41. And we know that square root of 41 is in between square root of 36 and square root of 49. So square root of 41 is in between 6 and 7. So we can estimate it when we draw the focus, or the foci on this one. All right. So let's go ahead and, we have to find E too. So E equals C over A. That's your eccentricity. And that just means how far away from looking like a circle does it get. And so our C is square root of 41. And we're just going to use positive on this. And our A is 5. So it's pretty close to 1. A little bigger than 1. So we're going to go ahead and start graphing it. And then say some other things. Our vertex here is our HK. So you look at your X and you're going to get negative 3. Your Y you get 3. So I'm going to go negative 3 and up 3. Probably should have moved this over. So maybe I'll move it over here. So we have Y minus 3 squared over 25 minus X plus 3 squared over 16 equals 1. All right. Now, so there's where we're starting. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and erase this one. What we're going to do is look at what's under the Y is 25. So for that, you take the square root of 25 and you get 5. So we're going to go up 5, because it's plus 5 and minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go down 5 for the negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now under the X is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So we're going to go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now instead of drawing an ellipse, which is what we would normally do, we're going to draw a little box to help us graph, a little rectangle here. Almost a square, because eccentricity is almost 1, a little bigger. And I'm going to draw my asymptote lines. Right through these corners here. And I know my slope is Y over X. And you can just look at it. We look under the Y. We went up and down 5. And under the X is 4. So this is just going to be plus or minus 5 over 4. Because you had to, when you square root, you get plus and minus here. All right? So that's your slope. And to get your asymptote line, you just merely copy down your center here. So you're going to do Y minus 3 equals plus or minus 5/4. And then you do your X. X plus 3. That's your point slope form. And usually they don't put the parentheses on this. So I'll just put Y minus 3. So it's going through this center, and we have our slope. All right? Now, the only other thing we need is to draw this. So there's not a lot of room on here. But basically, since Y starts, it opens up and down. So it's going to go something like this, open up here, as close to the asymptotes as you can get. All right? So these are your vertices. So what we did on the Y, we started at 3. So we have negative 3. We started at 3 on the Y, and we added 5, and we subtracted 5. So this would equal negative 3, 8, and negative 3, negative 2. So those are your vertices. Your co-vertices are these right here. And that's going to be, so here are your co-vertices. we started at -3, and under this x here, we added and subtracted 4. So you add 4, and that's your y part, and we subtracted 4. So your co-vertices are 1, 3, and -7, 3. These are your co-vertices. All right, and the length of your transverse axis is just this. So the transverse axis is whatever starts here. So it's your y. It's your main one, where it's opening up and down. So we went up 5 and down 5. So the length of your transverse how do you spell transverse? All right, is 2 times 5, which equals 10. And the conjugate axis is the one with the co-vertices. So we went to the left 4 and to the right 4. So the length of your conjugate axis is 2 times 4, which equals 8. All right, so this would be 8 here, and this one would be 10 here. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.